Okay, so welcome to this video. It's a little different. I'm trying a new thing. We'll see. So this is a sort of hybrid of like a work with me and research with me kind of thing, where it is edited, so it's not just like a stream of working content, but it's not like very specific through one day. This is through basically 2 books and the process that I go through to read them, research them, and retain information. I get a lot of questions, especially with my dyslexia, how I do that. So yeah, I just thought I'd share, and I have a library book and a book I own. I can't show you everything I do because there are certain things that I didn't do this time that I do other times, but I can show you what I did, and it does work for me. Obviously I can't speak for anybody else, and I don't know if this will help anybody, but this is what works for me. So I'm gonna start on this book. I don't know anything about it. I literally just grabbed it from the library, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm trying to go in with an open mind. I'm going to give it 5 chapters. If I want to rage scream, I'm ending it. Because it's not worth needing to rage scream through a book that I don't have to read. I've got others that I need to read for various projects and whatnot. This one I don't. So let's get into it. Okay, so I have a lot of people asking me how I get through so much, how I read so much, how I do so much research, especially being dyslexic, and the truth is you just kind of do it. This is only what I do. I can't speak for everyone, obviously. But I have both the book in front of me when I'm studying something, and I have the audiobook. I found that this works better when I'm really trying to take information in. I also take notes. I take notes on Goodreads, that's where I track books that I'm studying, and I take handwritten notes. I found that this works the best and I retain the most information, but this is just a me thing. I have no idea if there's any science that backs this up. I have no idea if this will help anybody else, but it's what I do and it worked really well for me. Okay, so that previous book was a library book, and this is a book I own, so I do the same thing where I keep both physical and digital notes, but also when I own a book, I keep notes in the book itself. I might underline things, I might highlight things. I didn't really highlight anything in this one for some reason, I don't even know why, but I underline things, I highlight things, I make notes in the margins. Basically, if you own the book, don't treat it like it's precious. Tear it up, destroy it, write in it. Mark it down, dog ear it. I know that there's a pervasive culture online to like keep your books all neat and perfect and immaculate and like all of that. That is not me. Maybe a fictional book here and there that I read once or twice a year, I might keep looking relatively nice, but if it is a research book, it is written and it is dog-eared, it is torn. And if it's a book I've read several times that I own, it is written in, it is dog-eared, it is torn. Do not treat your books like they are precious, priceless objects. They are tools. Use them as tools. Treat them like tools. And if you really care that much, get ebooks. You can do the same. You can highlight, you can make notes, you can do all of that. I do that on my Kindle as well. But they are not priceless. Don't treat them like they are. So I wanted to flip through what I do in these and kind of explain the differences. So far, this is the only book I've gotten to today. I haven't even touched this one yet. I will get to it, I promise. But this is one of those books. I was saying on Instagram, I rarely read biographies, and yet this is one of those books that it's like kind of a biography, but not really. And at the same time, this story is so compelling and so like, I have read novels that are not this compelling and like thrillers that aren't this thrilling. It's remarkable. But I do want to walk you through what I do for this, which is going to be different than like a library book, because again, I don't own the library book, I do own this book. So I just want to kind of give you like a compare and contrast for a book I own versus a book I don't own. So let me flip the camera down and I will show you kind of the difference. And I'll actually use a book I recently read in my notebook of all of my notes to kind of give you an idea of how this works. Again, this is just my method. This just works for me. I have no like monetization on this, or like, I'm not claiming this is the best method. I'm claiming this is the method I use and it works for me. It helps me retain the information better and gain the knowledge from what I'm learning better. However, I have noticed that there are a lot of tips and tricks out there that claim that like writing notes and like really truly digesting the information, writing notes, actually studying the information will help you retain it better. That's probably true to some extent. I haven't dug into any of the research at all, so I don't want to say that. I just know that that is a common thing that is perpetuated. But that's not what this is about. So I want to do this. I'm going to show you, and I actually wish I hadn't returned that library book so I could show you what I do with all my tabs and stuff. But anyway, let's do the flippy flip. Okay, so first off, you'll notice if I own the book, I am not careful with it. I've never been one of those people that is like super careful with my books. My hardcovers, even a lot of times I break the spine in those. I always break the spine unless it is an extremely hard book to break the spine in, or it's not mine. I am normally reading a book like this. I know there are purists out there that are going to be furious that I do that. Whatever. Books are meant to be read. They're meant to be digested. They're meant to be used. This is a tool, a piece of work, a piece of art that you hold in your hands. It's not a like priceless article. You can beat up, write in it, tear it up, destroy it. In fact, I have a couple of Bibles that I've kept simply because I've taken so many notes in them. It would be impossible to transfer the notes into a new copy. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you what it looks like in this kind of book. I don't really do this so much in fiction. I tend to just read fiction for pleasure. But this time I didn't do much highlighting, but I do generally do some. So I highlighted this passage mostly to share on Twitter, actually. And I underline a lot of things. You'll notice there are coffee marks, watermarks. I write notes in the margins. Here I underlined something and I wrote a note in the margin there. Like, I'm always writing notes in the margins. There are about 1 billion in this at points. Like here, I'm noting that this is talking about Switzerland's neutrality in World War II, and this is just a simple note of how long Switzerland was neutral. And in here, my notebook, which I have for actual long form notes. This is quick notes that I can easily jot in the margins of like a standard book. This is my long form notebook. So you see I have everything. Everything that is possibly a note is either in this book or in this book, and this book has my schedules, plans, everything. Even like Christmas presents are in here. If I lose this thing, I will be so screwed. It's not even funny. Okay, so this one up here, I have books for a future project that I need to see if my library has, and then I need to order them if it doesn't. I have ideas for future projects, and then above where I start taking notes for the book, I write the title of the book, sometimes the author, but since I'm reading this a lot, I just wrote the title of it. And then here is where I put in long form notes. So anything that is much longer over here. Yes, so this is actually my notes I took in this from yesterday. That's another book, but up here. So we have so this is at the beginning of the book in 1930s Europe, as the rise of fascism is starting to take over most of Europe, other than a few small nations. And this is basically what these are about a paragraph or more in general. I have some notes in here that are pages and pages and pages on a specific topic because I have so many thoughts. I just want to get them out. Sometimes I vlog them, but typically I lately have been putting them in here. And you'll notice spelling isn't great, writing isn't great. This is not that kind of a space. This is a quick thoughts out on paper space. So we have, it is absolutely terrifying that basically Virginia was seeing something that we are also seeing, that the rise of fascism is going up globally, and the same thing was happening there. And then I have a quote from the book itself. I'm going to take you down to my library and I'm going to show you what books that I read a lot or really like, especially books that I research, end up looking like that are mine. They do not look pretty at the end. So I'm going to show you. So I'm standing in my fiction section and I'm going to pull some things. Now I don't do this to every single book that I've read, but here's Not the Average Hot Guy, and as you can see, I broke between us. I have like no damage on. I just didn't. This spine, for whatever reason, was a lot more sturdy, and I could actually like open it. I kissed Taylor Wheeler. Yes, I got the fancy exclusive hardback somehow. I went to Barnes & Noble and I bought it, and it was the fancy one. But as you can see, like even in my hardcovers, like I break the spine. I'm one of those people that will like open a hardcover and like break the spine before I read it, just because it reads easier. And obviously on a hardcover, once you do that, it's not visible. On books like this, it becomes extremely visible right away. This book also had a tragic coffee accident, so. But where I am the one that actually does a good chunk of the harm is in this section. All of my nonfiction. So we have Hunt for the Skinwalker. Yes, Skinwalker Ranch is coming soon-ish, I promise. Cracked, tabbed, out of the wazoo, highlighted, underlined. I know I've written in here at some point. Tabbed, highlighted, written in, noted. This one I did crack the spine, you can't really see. It's very faint. But like tabbed, highlighted, written in. So like if I'm intentionally studying a book, I am purposely marking it up, purposely writing in it, purposely battering it, because it legitimately does help me retain the information more. Anything and everything you can, retain the information by truly studying it. Treat it like you're reading it for a class. It works. For me at least. I actually took notes from the audiobook itself. I normally have both a book and an audiobook if I'm going to take notes. It just helps with my dyslexia. There is some kind of research that supports it, but it doesn't really matter. It works for me, so that's why I do it. Okay, so as you can see, I had a lot of notes to take for this book. This is a talk period to me, which is already up, so I will go ahead and link that. But sometimes I will spend quite a long time taking note after note after note after note. And then these are for some other books that I also took notes after notes after notes after notes. And then you can see days that I didn't read much at all. So that is basically how I do that. Again, I'm not like saying that this is a good method or a better method or any kind of method really at all. It's actually all I'm doing is reading a book, either writing down or highlighting passages that I agree with. I will use sticky tabs sometimes in library books, and I'm just like taking notes of my thoughts, sometimes writing down quotes, but it's not anything like super strict. But I have found that this does mean retain the information more. I mean, I already have a really good memory, but this helps improve it a lot. And I've also found, just anecdotally, of course, but I've also found that having one notebook for everything and just simply making a note of what I'm making notes about works so much easier when I am trying to sit down and like write a book review. Then I have to find the notebook for that book, or my notebook, my book review notebook, you know. Especially as I just wrote my Roswell script and I was looking all over the house for my notebook for Roswell, and it would have been so much easier if I had just had one of these that was from that time period. I could have just gone, oh, okay, it's this notebook, grabbed it, and everything would have been in it. I don't plan on waiting 3 years again for the video to come out, but you know what I mean. So that's what I do. That's why I do it. It works really well for me, and I will show you me doing. Yeah, that's basically everything I do. I'll probably do more of these in the future, but yeah, I read the book, I take notes. I normally put the date of whatever day it is on the top, so it's just easier to keep track. I found that that does make a huge difference. And then I just put whatever title of the book is that I'm taking notes for. Again, I'm not claiming that I have the master key or the perfect study solution. It's just, this is what works for me. This has worked really well over the last year or so, and we'll see if it keeps working in the future. I'm sure I'll have to adjust some things. Studying, learning is a process, and every single time you try something new, you have to adapt. And sometimes you're gonna try something for a while and it's gonna work, and then something's gonna change, it's not gonna work anymore. So just, yeah, know that going in and have fun. Remember, learning should be fun, so have fun with it. Make it fun. Make games out of it. Make trivia out of it. Do something with it to enjoy yourself. And, yeah. So let me know if suggestions I have ever helped. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!